Morning, Tagora. Morning, Robbie. Good, good. Still munching on my breakfast. Because I felt like it. I could stop. You want me to stop?
Connected to Channel Theo.
Thank you, Ravi, over on YouTube.
Kitty says, no, you can change Discord to reflect changes. Noiki Wanangi.
I mean, okay. Sure. I just cut up the inside of my mouth.
Raspberry Pi supercomputer says.
I think self-harm is against TOS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. A waffle was sharp, man.
Kitty says. Better, don't let it happen again.
Ooh. Okay.
Next on to-do list. Replies to Jess.
What? You replied to Jess. What are you talking about, in Discord? You replied to Jess last night. You doing some Lego Fortnite tonight?
Maybe said she asked if you would like to play Lego with us, I think.
Yep.
Raspberry Pi supercomputer says.
Man, I'm really gonna need to peel myself out of bed today to go to work.
Yep. Same. I'm a certain level of miserable without any refined sugar in my life. I mean, there's a lot of things to be miserable about, but, ma'am.
Kitty says. Make sure you update it if your coming update is 60 gig, it's huge.
Ugh.
Little one just asking says.
Kermit, sing for me.
Hey, Fizzy, good morning. Well, absolutely.
Kitty says. Think it's done if Fortnite is college would be fine.
I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong. And I learned how to get along, and now I'm back on the flag. Don't look surprised that I'm still singing, 'cause you know I have an act. Can you believe what you see, that you can't believe it's me? Did you think for just 1 second you'd be back to look at me? I will survive. I will survive. I will survive. Hey, hey.
Next on to-do list, bring snacks, but will be same time Noiki one hug Noiki one love. Hansahai says.
/ What does Comptia teach?
Kitty says. Next to-do list unmute mic.
Thanks. Hanso, hi. How are you doing today? Comptia teaches Security Plus, Network Plus. That's my email. Close your eyes. So we are doing Security Plus.
Hansahai says.
Currently just learning more Linux, nothing special.
What are you using to learn Linux? Thanks for the stretch, Fizzy.
DevOps.
Translated from Romanian.
Oh. Oh, mama. You can't see really, but... Ooh. Busy. Thank you.
Birmingham 13 says.
Is he stretching or did we break the streamer?
Stretching. Good morning, Birmingham. How you doing? Han Sohai, what are you using to teach yourself Linux DevOps?
Good morning, sir. I am well. How are you?
Great.
Hansahai says.
Code loud and killer code.
Translated
Killer
from
Coda.
Danish.
That's Tannis's, right?
Yeah, it's tennis.
Yep. Like,
Translated
love
from
that guy.
Dutch.
Love that guy. Do it live. All right. I am on to flashcards. While I'm doing flashcards, though, we're going to let this guy chit chat.
The CIA triad is an easy way to remember the fundamentals of IT security. Sometimes you'll see this referred to as the AIC triad to differentiate it from the federal organization in the US called the Central Intelligence Agency. But since it's so easy to remember CIA, we often refer to the CIA triad instead of the AIC triad. But keep in mind that the CIA triad has nothing to do with the CIA being the Central Intelligence Agency. The C in the CIA triad is confidentiality. We want to prevent someone from gaining access to private information. we need to provide that information in a confidential way. The I in CIA is the integrity, where if we're sending information from one person to another, we want to be sure that the recipient really is receiving.
So good, but there's just something about his voice that puts me to sleep. Not because he's boring, but because it's a soothing voice. Lol.
On a scale, it's hard for me to understand. So on a scale from 1 to my voice, what are we talking about? I hear you. I agree. He's pleasant to listen to. And that's one of the reasons why I like, I mean, he knows his shit, but that's one of the reasons why I like him too. This one should be, what are the 3 fundamentals of, what are the 3 principles of the CIA triad? Describe the CIA triad and its 3 principles.
Raspberry Pi supercomputer says,
Oh, your voice just makes me want to shriek in terror. It's fine.
One, two. There are few simple pleasures in life. One is a fresh hot cup of black coffee. Ooh.
You the one just asking says,
B7H30 coffee, B7H30 cup Bojo.
Raspberry Pi supercomputer says,
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I know what you're doing. My can look right?
Kitty says, nothing beats a nice bottle of whiskey and dancing on the weekend. Wiki one light. Raspberry Pi supercomputer says,
Little did I know as a young person, that Folgers is the worst, coffee, period, exclamation mark.
I mean, it'll do in a pinch, but it's freeze-dried coffee. Describe the CIA triad and its three principles. The CIA triad is the fundamentals of security, confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Exactly what was sent from the origination. And lastly, the A in the CIA triad refers to availability. Obviously, we want to be sure that all of our systems remain up and running at all times, even if we're implementing some type of IT security. You'll often see the triad written as a triangle, and each leg of the triangle secures we have in IT security only to the right people. One of the biggest challenges security is the confidentiality, the availability, and the integrity listed as the security objectives associated with the triad. One of the biggest challenges we have in IT security is making data available to others, but making sure—
Hi, Asteria. How are you?
Only to the right people. We refer
Thank you for the follow.
Confidentiality. One way that we provide this confidentiality is through encryption. We can have one person encrypt data, send it to someone else, and that other person can then decrypt that data to be able to see the original plain text. Obviously, anyone in the middle who happens to get access to that encrypted data has no idea what's on the inside, and if they were to look at that data, they would not be able to discern anything important from that information. Another common way to provide confidentiality is to set limits on what someone may have access to. We commonly do this with access controls. We can limit who might have access
I'll allow it.
to types of information. For example, this
That was good.
might allow someone in the marketing department to be able to see all of the marketing presentations and be able to make changes to those.
Can I do a marker from here? I can.
But it would prevent all access to any of the accounting information of the organization. And if you've ever had to provide additional authentication factors when logging into a system, that's another type of confidentiality. Someone would not be able to act, but making sure that have an objectives associated with the triad. One of the biggest challenges we have in IT security is making data available to others, but making sure that availability is only to the right people. We refer to this as confidentiality. One way that we provide this confidentiality is through encryption. We can have one person encrypt data, send it to someone else, and that other person can then decrypt that data to be able to see the original plain text. Obviously, anyone in the middle who happens to get access to that encrypted data has no idea what's on the inside, and if they were to look at that data, they would not be able to discern anything important from that information. Another common way to provide confidentiality is to set limits on what someone may have access to. We commonly do this with access controls. We can limit who might have access to certain types of information. For example, this might allow someone in the marketing department to be able to see all of the marketing presentations and be able to make changes to those, but it would prevent all access to any of the accounting information of the organization. And if you've ever had to provide additional authentication factors when logging into a system, that's another type of confidentiality. Someone would not be able to access an account unless they had the proper authentication credentials, and adding those additional factors provides more confidentiality.
Regarding the CI triad.
Quaju says,
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, Quadu. How are you? Oh, good redeem, Quadu. Give you the full screen first when I activate it, and then I gotta go back to the little one.
What 8-bit Theo doing?
I'm getting to it. It's something on my forehead.
Oh, the Balkan streamer quality. I love it.
Balkan streamer quality. I look pixelated, so I called it 8-bit. Now you see, Theo, why am I asking you to get dogs?
Even the Bosnian news look like this, haha.
Well, that's your 8-bit Theo. Thank you. Robbie, it's just music. It's not words. Usually music with words doesn't help me focus. Distracts me.
Kitty says, okay, has 5 confirmed for Lego Noiki 1 hug.
Okay. I gotta remember to check with Spectre.
You the one just asking says.
I think, I just different for them cause I can't focus on anything even with just music by both thumb.
It's okay. Everyone learns differently. It's okay. Certain information should only be known to certain people. Should only be known to certain people. Prevent unauthorized information disclosure. Encryption. Encode messages so only certain people can read it. Access controls. Selectively restrict access to a resource. Two-factor authentication. My Twitch account password is password where the O is a 0. Additional confirmation before. Ravi's over on YouTube messing with me. I'm getting all kinds of great, helpful tips and comments on YouTube. The first day of Comptia Security Plus study, John Stark, it is so boring, this study. Very, very, very boring. To which I'm going to reply, agree 100%. You should see me on my hacking streams. Oof. No, thank you. Oh, it dropped back down, but still. Uno reverse. Nice. Additional confirmation before information is disclosed. John Neck 1111. Thank you for the follow. How you doing today?
Looney says.
Hey, Fat.
Looney says.
Less than 3.
Regarding the CIA triad, describe confidentiality. My handwriting is god-awful, I know. Confidentiality. Certain information should only be known to certain people. Prevent unauthorized information disclosure. Encryption. Encode messages so only certain people can read it. Access controls. Selectively restrict access to a resource. Two-factor authentication. Additional
Well, he's showing
confirmation
in front of
before
you,
information is
filter out.
disclosed. I know. I don't want to take it off yet. QDo just redeemed it. Confidentiality. Yeah, like I said, when I think of confidentiality, I think of like this little manila folder that no one's allowed to look at.
You mean new education content folder Kappa?
Right. Confidential. And when I think of that folder, I think of like it's sitting like in an office in like a locked filing cabinet, and only certain people have access to that, have a key for that filing cabinet. But then there's encryption. Like, encryption's hard because when I'm thinking of that, like when I'm thinking of that filing cabinet, I'm thinking of that folder. It's not necessarily in like text I can't read. So I should think of the confidentiality more like a folder on a desktop computer. And to access that folder, it's encrypted. And to read it, then, you know, someone would have to have a key or something to decrypt it. Access controls selectively restrict access to a resource. I could think of that like the folder being on the desktop. You know, not only do you need a key to decode the messages, you need a key to just access the messages. Selectively restrict access to a resource, and two-factor authentication. So not only do you need like keys to access the resource, but you need all the keys. And two factors, additional confirmation before information is disclosed. Luna, hi there. You snuck in on me. Thank you for the lurk. Did someone change the lights to blue for me? If you did, thanks. Okay, so now regarding the CIA triad, describe integrity. Data is stored and transferred as intended.
When we're receiving data from a third party, we'd like to be able to verify that the data that we have received is exactly the same data that was sent and that nobody has made changes to that data while it was traversing the network. We're able to do that by using methods of integrity. One way to provide integrity is by hashing. The person sending the data will create a hash of the data and send you both the data and the hash at the same time. When you receive the data, you'll perform the same hashing function, and if your hash matches the sender's hash, then you know the data that you've received is exactly the same as the data that was sent. We can enhance this integrity by including a digital signature when we're sending data, which takes a hash and encrypts it with an asymmetric encryption algorithm. This means that we can check to make sure that none of the data has changed, and we can confirm the person who sent the data. That provides an additional level of integrity that could be important if you're sending very sensitive data. It's also common to use certificates to be able to identify devices or people and provide additional factors of integrity, especially when you're transferring data from one device to another. And lastly, we have the concept of non-repudiation. This means that we have proof of integrity and we can confirm without a doubt that the information that we've received really did come from the originating party. If you've done we've received really did
Data is stored and transferred as intended. Any modification to data would be identified. Hashing. Map data of arbitrary length to data of a fixed length. Digital signatures. Mathematical scheme to verify the integrity of data. Certificates. combined with a digital signature to verify an individual. Non-repudiation. Provides proof of integrity. Can be asserted to be genuine. Regarding the CIA triad, describe integrity. Data is stored and transferred as intended. Any modification to the data would be identified. Hashing. Map data of an arbitrary length to data of a fixed length. Digital signatures. Mathematical scheme to verify the integrity of data. Certificates combined with a digital signature to verify an individual. And non-repudiation provides proof of integrity. Can be asserted to be genuine. Well, data is stored and transferred as intended. When I think of integrity, first thing I think of is doing the right thing even though no one's watching. Data is stored and transferred as intended. When I read data is stored, I'm thinking like little disk drives, or I'm thinking thumb drives. And transferred as intended feels like emailing something to myself. Any modification to the data would be identified. Hashing. Map data of an arbitrary length. No, you're good, Ravi. Hashing. Map data of an arbitrary length to data of a fixed length. Digital signatures. Mathematical scheme to verify the integrity of data. Certificates. combined with a digital signature to verify an individual. Non-repudiation, providing proof of integrity.
And adding those additional facts from a third party, we'd lower confidentiality. When we're receiving data from a third party, we'd like to be able to verify that the data that we have received is exactly the same data that was sent, and that nobody has made changes to that data while it was traversing the network. We're able to do that by using methods of integrity. One way to provide integrity is by hashing. The person sending the data will create a hash of the data and send you both the data and the hash at the same time. When you receive the data, you'll perform the same hashing function, and if your hash matches the sender's hash, then you know the data that you've received is exactly the same as the data that was sent. We can enhance this integrity by including a digital signature when we're sending data, which takes a hash and encrypts it with an asymmetric encryption algorithm. This means that we can check to make sure that none of the data has changed, and we can confirm the person who sent the data. That provides an additional level of integrity that could be important if you're sending very sensitive data. It's also common to use certificates to be able to identify devices or people and provide additional factors of integrity, especially when you're transferring data from one device to another. And lastly, we have the concept of non-repudiation. This means that we have proof of integrity, and we can confirm without a doubt that the information that we've received really did come from the originating party. If you've done any work in information technology,
Guarding the CIA triad. Describe availability. Information is accessible to authorized users. Always at your fingertips. Redundancy. Build services that will always be available. Fault tolerance. System will continue to run even when a failure occurs. Patching. Stability and closed security holes. Oof. Excuse me.
You know how important. If you've done any work in information technology, you know how important it is for your systems to be available. Availability is that leg of the CIA triad that ensures that people have access to the data that they'd like to view. One way to provide this availability is to have systems that are designed to always be up and running. We might combine this with a system that has fault tolerance, where we have multiple components, and if one of those components fails, the other component can pick up and continue to operate normally. And of course, if you're concerned about systems being available, you'll constantly need to make sure that they are managed and updated by patching those systems. This ensures that the systems are always as stable as possible and that we can close any existing security holes, preventing someone from gaining access.
Regarding the CIA triad, describe availability. Availability is the information is accessible to authorized users. It's always at your fingertips. Redundancy, build services that will always be available. Fault tolerance, system will continue to run even when a failure occurs. And patching, for stability and to close security holes.
Kitty says, "Wanna be famous? Follow this link over at Weblink."
Nori. So before I forget, tonight we are playing Lego Fortnite.
The easiest way to get into the meditative state is to begin by listening.
By Jess. That's not right. The secret redeem.
Kitty says, "You shouting me out to a clip of me shouting you out Noiki one light."
Exactly what I planned. Can I get one row of pixels for my teeth? Got it. What are the 4 security control categories? Technical, managerial, operational, physical. Regarding control categories, describe technical controls. Technical controls are controls that are software or operating system in nature. Controls implemented using systems, operating system controls. Oh, and there's examples. This is like firewalls or antivirus. In control categories, describe managerial controls. Managerial controls are implemented using policy and procedure. Administrative controls associated with security design and implementation, like security policies, standard operating procedures. Administrative controls associated with security design and implementation. In control categories, describe operational controls. Operational controls are controls that are implemented using people instead of systems. And that's like security guards or awareness programs. In control categories, describe physical controls. Physical controls limit physical access, like a guard shack, fences or locks, or badge readers. Of control types, describe preventative. Give one example of each for each control category. Preventative controls prevent someone from doing something. I know that's not right. Preventative controls block access to a resource. You shall not pass. A technical example of a... Why do I always do this? Preventative. I need to write these on the back. I can't remember what's on the front. And it's just words on the back. Preventative. Preventative control type. Preventative control type blocks access to a resource. You shall not pass. Of control types, describe preventative. Preventative control type blocks access to a resource. You shall not pass. A technical example of a preventative control type technical is like a technical is using software. So to block access would be like using a firewall rules. Managerial would be like a policy, follow security policy, like onboarding policy. Technical or operational would be like using people. So it'd be like a guard check, checking IDs. And then a physical would be a like a door or a locked enable door locks. Of control types, describe deterrent and give an example. Deterrent would discourage someone from breaking in, stealing information. Discourages an intrusion attempt, does not directly prevent access, make an attacker think twice. Have I mentioned how much I despise this kind of learning? Have I made it known my disdain, my absolute hatred of this kind of learning? I'm like 2 days in and I'm just fucking mad.
You one just asking says,
Capital.
translated from Swedish.
Deterrent. Discourage an intrusion attempt. Does not directly prevent access. Makes an attacker think twice. A technical example of a deterrent would be a application splash screen. It's like when I log into TeamViewer. If it thinks I'm on a business network, it warns me. Looks like you're using a business account. That's more for intrusion, though. Yep. Nailed it, Robbie. Nailed it, Robbie. Technical. So managerial example of a deterrent control type. Deterrent. Arduku. Thank you both for hanging out on YouTube for a little bit. Does this go to both channels, this restream? Ugh.
Theo says,
Does this go to both channels?
It does. Okay, cool. Managerial threat of demotion for deterrent. Operational front reception desk for deterrent. Physical posted warning signs. Of control types, describe detective. Give an example of one for each. Crap. Making sure you're up, bud. Generalism OFTW. How you doing?
Generalissimo 69 says,
Smile, smile.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the follow. How you doing today?
Sick AF.
Is that like, bro? That's sick as fuck, man. It's. Or are you sick? You're not well. You don't feel well.
As not healthy.
Sorry to hear that. You get checked out? Did you go to like a CVS doc in the box or like urgent care or? Okay. I mean, if you're sick as fuck.
Little one just asking says,
Get well soon.
Generalissimo 69 says,
Thanks.
Chicken noodle soup. Plenty of fluids. And your job is to be a couch potato today.
I threw it up.
You need to drink water then. Water?
I do.
All right. Well, thanks for the follow. I'm hanging out. You're hanging out with me while you're sick. Thanks. I got all kinds of silly shit to watch. If you want to go back and look at a lot of the clips are pretty funny. Some of the gaming streams will put you to sleep. Actually, these study streams from the past couple days will put you to sleep. Thanks, Ravi. That's a little bit about me. Detective control types identify and log an intrusion attempt may not prevent access. They find the issue. A technical version of detective control type collects and reviews system logs. Managerial detective type reviews login reports. Operational detective control type regularly patrols the property. Physical detective control type enables motion detectors. I want to get through these. Of the control types, describe corrective. Give an example of each. Corrective. Corrective control type is something you apply after apply control after an event has been detected. Ravi, not at all. If anyone picks on you like that, you let me know and I'll bounce them out of here. I haven't said this in a while, but this is a safe place. This is a judgment-free place. I'm sorry, I was watching something. So if you have a question, you don't understand something, feel free to ask. Corrective control type reverses the impact of an event, continues operating with minimal downtime to correct the problem. A technical example of a corrective control type would be restoring from backup. A managerial corrective control type would be to create policy for reporting security issue. A operational corrective control type would be to contract law enforcement to manage with criminal activity. And a physical corrective control type would be to use a fire extinguisher. Of control types, describe compensating. Give an example of each. A compensating control type controls using other means. Existing controls aren't sufficient, may be temporary. Prevent the exploitation of a weakness. A technical compensating control would be a firewall blocks a specific application instead of patching the app. A managerial compensating control would implement a separation of duties. An operational compensating control require simultaneous guard duties. A physical compensating control would be using a generator after a power outage. Of control types, describe directive. Give an example of each. A directive control type directs a subject toward a security compliance, is a relatively weak security control. Do this, please. A technical directive control would be to store all sensitive files in a protective folder. A managerial directive control would be to create compliance policies and procedures. An operational directive control would be to train users on proper security policy. And a physical directive control would be to post a sign for unauthorized personnel. Okay, that's all we got time for today. I hope I sufficiently put everyone to sleep. I see that I'm killing my viewer count. That's always encouraging. That's always motivating. Yep, I know. That's the alarm to put Small Beanie Hacker on the bus. We got a raid and run.
Tie for the stream, please.
Thank you for hanging out, Ravi. Thank you for keeping an eye on YouTube. You know what? Watch this.
I'm still awake, Bible thump.
Just asking says.
Lol, tie for that.
We're gonna raid Toggle Bit.
But I don't stream.
I know. I'm gonna do it anyways. Hey. Thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna be gaming later today. 7 o'clock, so about 10 hours, 11 hours, we'll be gaming.
You the one just asking says.
Thanks, Nori. Thanks, Robbie.
7H30 Elephant Harry.
Arduku, thank you. Generalisms, hope you feel better. And hope to see you back. Luna, Tagora,
7HB1SH0
have a great
says,
day.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Bishop.
You the one just asking says.
Right.
You the streamer.
Then what? It's all good, Spice. It's all good. It's all diggity boo. Hey, Theo, welcome Raiders. How you doing? How's your stream, buddy? What'd you get up to?
Hmm. 19 Raiders from Overgrown Carrot 1 have joined.